My name is Lurae. I created this personal documentary as part of a school assignment, and then my mom, Randy, asked if she could use it to help her explain the origins of her nonprofit, Educate Tomorrow's Parents. The story of us is about me and my mom, how she adopted me, and how everything she learned from me helped create something beautiful. For some background information, this is my only baby picture. It's a picture of me and my birth family before I was put into foster care. This picture marks the start of a very rough beginning for me. My birth parents were neglectful, both were doing drugs, and I felt abandoned whether I knew it or not at the time.
Lurae was the youngest child placed with me, and it was an emotional journey for both of us until her adoption a few years later. This poem I wrote captures part of that journey.
At 2 years old, you came to me already with a name. You came to me knowing someone else as Mommy. You came to me with many adventures and losses that I knew nothing about, and you had no words to tell me. But I learned your story nonetheless, in bedtime panic and self-inflicted pain, in stone-faced provocations and a take-charge attitude. In spite of your bouncy walk and the lilt in your voice, when the camera shutter clicked open and shut, the photos showed a child's face that held no smile. As you continued to grow, you were charming and engaging, and you were ready to go anywhere with anyone, but your hugs had no cling. And when I held you, you were limp, you wriggled, and you were restless. Where were you then, my darling daughter, flown so far away from trust and connection, flown so far from innocence and love?
My mom was patient with me. I grew, I changed, I got closer to her, and eventually I trusted her and was ready to be adopted. Although I was happy living with my adoptive mother, I still was having nightmares and still reliving some of the trauma that my birth family had put me through. I wasn't sleeping well. I couldn't stop thinking about the neglect, the abandonment, and the fear that it would happen to me again. While I was figuring out how to talk about my birth family and how I felt about them, I discovered that poetry and art was the easiest way for me to express myself. This is a poem I wrote in high school called Old to New. Where do I go to end my sorrow? Why do they neglect creation, abandon joy and love, and squander time? When do I give in and forget the new? Never. I will not give in. I will get the new. Joy, love, time. No more waiting. You will come to end my sorrow and start the new. The new is here. Forget sorrow. During this time, my mom was seeing what my foster siblings and I were struggling with and started to create her program for teens.
As a foster parent, I was heartbroken to see my children wrestling with profound and long-term trauma, and there are so many children in our country in this predicament. So I began to wonder, how do we as a society get ahead of this problem? That's when I realized there's an opportunity to start right now. We can help teens look forward in time to understand how their choices today can affect their future family. And by guiding them to identify their personal goals and providing them with more information, we can help teens make healthier choices, prevent harm to future children, and create strong families. And that's when I created a health education program for high school teens.
Once my mom knew her program had potential, we started to work together to create a workbook for teenagers so they could plan for their future. Some of it involved picturing a goal for your future and finding out the steps it would take to get there. Some of it involved figuring out what you want to do differently from your parent and come up with methods of discipline, for protection, and for anything that your future child would need, and how you'd end up getting there. So skills like budgeting and preparing yourself before having a child. Her program took off. She started teaching in high schools. The teens took really well to it. They wanted to plan for their future. A lot of them didn't realize how much they wanted to have kids in the future and how unprepared they were. My mom shared my story so a lot of people could learn from it. In addition to classroom settings, my mom threw events to spread awareness. One event we did was a showcase where teens could submit art about family and people would perform and sing and do whatever they thought encompassed the idea of family and future family. In every class, my mom has teens write down promises to their future children as a way to see what people have taken away from the program, and the responses are profound. I'm excited that you can see that people want to have better lives and better futures for their children. Although it's difficult to share my story, the fact that I've been able to help other people because they get to hear my story inspires me, and I want to keep sharing it in the future. I want to keep my mom's program alive by sharing how I feel about what happened to me, and hopefully people take that to heart and change what they will do for their future children.
Thank you for listening to our story about why we created Educate Tomorrow's Parents and why we think it's such an important endeavor. If you're a teen about to participate in one of our programs, we hope we've inspired you to plan ahead. And if your plans include raising children, we hope you'll become well prepared to care for them and love them. Know that with information and life skills, you can make healthy choices now that will help you create a bright future for yourself and for generations to come.